when they decide they don't wanna live in the facility, and then they're filtered back into the community, is another person going to be
I
placed?
don't know
you
what that answer is, that's a DSHS
So
question.
you know,
That's a DSHS
people can
question.
be filtered in and out, and they'll be filtered into the community.
Yeah.
My second thing, I was going to just piggyback, you know, they were saying, you know, luckily in Olympia, we have the resources to deal with this, but, if you go to Olympia, I don't think we're so lucky. I mean, it's had a major impact on our community, and so, I mean, we have the resources, and if you go downtown Olympia, or even drive on Pacific Avenue, it's disgusting, and it's not safe. So, I mean, and that's happened in a very short amount of time.
I don't believe we've called law enforcement in the last year from our current facility. I may be wrong, there may be one call. It's not different. They're not different.
So when that scenario happens, that the officer described, and the individual gets out, who's the hammer fall on other than the victim?
Right.
Because there will be a victim in this.
I don't want to speculate.
Well, I don't want to either, but I'm just being.
That's the reality of it.
It's not speculation, it's
not
being
if,
realistic.
it's when.
Yep. Is your company?
I don't want to speculate because I have 20 some odd individuals that I'm currently serving. We have not seen any of the kinds of problems or concerns that you're insinuating might
But
happen
they're
here.
not from McNeil
I'm not a
Island.
mind reader, I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know exactly. All I can do is train my staff well, provide a good solid home for these individuals and do the best job that we can to protect them, my staff, and you.
So you have.
And that's what we're committed
You
to.
have two staff there, let's say two staff with 5 people.
Yep,
One guy runs, one guy goes after him, now you've got 1 to 4.
so I did do a little research on the program up in Poulsbo. I talked to their director this past, Monday, and they have had nobody abscond from their building. And this is the same, yeah, the same program. They're a bigger facility than ours, but they've had 0 individuals abscond.
And how long have they been open?
They've been in business over 3 years. Yes,
My question is about the DOC response.
Yes.
I don't think that's actually been answered. If your feeling is that the sheriff's interpretation of their response time is incorrect, you say you have a protocol in place. I've heard multiple people ask you to explain that. If you can't explain it to us tonight, where can we see it in writing?
well, I have a protocol that says that I'm to contact the DOC officer in the event that someone were to abscond. I don't believe that people are going to abscond, but if they were to. Also, there is an opportunity if, and I believe this is correct, for us to put ankle bracelets on these individuals as well. So in the event that we had concerns, then we could do that for added security. Then if they were to leave,
So then just to answer my question specifically, if this protocol has been crafted over the last 2 years, where can we see it in writing that details what the DOC will do if somebody runs on the weekend? Do you have that, yes or no?
yes, I will give you we have a piece of paper there for you to contact DSHS and you can get that information from
But
them.
this is not a Supreme Living
This is
protocol.
not our protocols, it's
And you have no knowledge.
DSHS.
As the sheriff said, even if that protocol
But you're not
exists, it doesn't
sharing
mean
it
it
with us,
works.
and that's my question.
I
The
want you
problem
to
is it
take
doesn't
that
work.
question
The
to
sheriff
DA.
said himself. You call
And
it,
then
DOC
speak to
works
her
8 to
question.
5.
Did you say that, sir, that it won't work?
So I think where the misconception is two things can be true at the same time. You have a protocol that says you will call DOC. I believe that exists. The problem is, if you want to call DOC right now, I'll get you their answering machine. They do not work after 5 p.m. The only option you have is that law enforcement has a private number where we call to confirm warrants that are already in the system. That's the only 24-hour DOC service there
And I
is.
have a private number for every DOC officer working with those folks in Olympia.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
That was a
Protocol officer, I know what
Can
that
I
means.
speak to
If
that,
there is
please?
something where the DOC officer is going to respond at 2 in the morning on Friday night, I'm good with this, because a DOC officer can then start working on that policy, but until, I've never heard of this. They don't do it with convicted felons for murder who are on probation release. I find it hard to believe they're gonna do it for sex offenders on one, in tonight.
Well, I can give you one assurance. If I don't have that support from the state, then I will make sure I have it. Because if you're telling me I'm not gonna have that support, and I don't know, because I haven't opened this facility, I do know what's happening in Olympia, and we are getting that support. So we'll see what
For
happens.
mental health, because those are two different facilities, and I respect,
What I'm
there's a
saying
free
is-
living facility up there is fine, but that's just mental health.
Well,
So we
that's-
have a commitment from you.
That's not necessarily true, that they're just mental health. We've had several people who have registered with Thurston County.
So we have a commitment from you that until you have the assurances from the Department of Corrections that a CCO or a DOC officer is able and willing to respond 24 hours a day in the event of the absconsion, you won't say escape, of one of your residents, you will not put a single person in this facility?
No,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm not gonna say that. What I'm gonna say.
That's what you said.
That's not what
You
I
said until you have that agreement in place with DOC, that they will have
I
somebody
believe
respond.
I have that agreement already.
Okay,
I
and if you
believe.
don't have it, you will not house a
I
resident here.
believe I have it already. We haven't exercised it because there's nobody in the building.
You have said so many times that you believe it's gonna be this way. You know what happens if you're wrong? A kid gets raped. That is not something, we're gonna put our faith into a woman that, I'm sorry, you don't have a lot of credibility in this room. That's not something we're gonna put our faith in any one person, or it might happen, or let's hope for the best. It's not a risk a community can take, and I don't care if all the other communities think it's a great idea, let them have it. We don't want it. Period.
I have nothing else I have nothing else to give you but me and my experience. That's all I can give you tonight. I'm sorry.
Are you gonna live there? Or any of you gonna live there?
I wish I could live there. It's a beautiful house.
And I have to tell you, I work in the DOC, I work in the field office. He's correct, they are 8 to 5, 7 to 5.
I understand what you're saying.
There's not a 24-hour response by the DOC.
I understand.
We request the warrants, the warrant goes out, and law enforcement responds unless it's in our time frame. There's not a 24-hour DOC field officer that will come out there.
Yeah, we understand that the protocols that we've developed with the state, that we will get backup from DOC when
But not
needed.
24 hours a day.
We believe we will.
Why do you believe that?
We believe that we will. We have personal phone numbers for the individuals right now.
Who did you deal with?
I'm not going to express their names.
Well, we have 2 officers that cover Tenino, Rainier, and
I've not
Rochester.
dealt with the Tenino people yet.
I'm
We're
saying-
not here yet.
I'm saying DOC, they assign cases by catchment, we have 2 officers do Rainier, Tenino, and Rochester during the day.
All I can give you is what I know today. I can't make up stories about what I think is going to happen. All I know is what I've done.
There's a difference between what you know and what you
All I
believe.
know is
Nor will you listen.
what I have available to me in the way of information today.
And it's not enough.
It's not enough for you.
It's not.
Any of us.
It's not enough.
Any of
It's enough
us.
for me.
Given the risk, it's not enough.
It's enough for me to feel comfortable with
It's
the
not your children,
agreement.
is it?
You don't live here.
So, ma'am, I've got 9 grandchildren, and I have children. I understand your concern that your children are at risk. I'm suggesting to you they are less at risk that that facility is there, that home is there, than they would be if it wasn't.
Is this another one of your
Your
How
beliefs?
on
children are
earth
less
can
at
you
risk.
even, there, you have nothing to base that off of.
I do,
Absolutely
I
nothing
do
to
have
base
something
that
to
off.
base that
How
on.
many of them would come here if
So
the
we're
facility
talking
wasn't
about
here?
people who
Exactly.
have the,
How many,
there's no risk.
how many would come here if your facility wasn't here?
I'm sorry. So let me talk about fair share and then I'll answer your question. So, fair share, how many of you are aware of what fair share is? So it's a state protocol that says that the fair share for each county to take and receive back the number of people whom they have contributed to the system. So Thurston County has 11 fair share spots. 11. And right now, you have 0 support facilities for these individuals. So you've got 11 slots. That's your fair share, Thurston County.
Thurston County,
And-
though, we're not necessarily here, but Thurston
Correct.
County.
Thurston County. Yeah.
I'm Carolyn McKee, I'm a Thurston County Commissioner, and I thought this was going to be, first of all, an informational session, but there's been absolutely no information. It's been extremely confusing. There's no handouts, there's absolutely nothing. These folks are more confused than when they first came here. Now, my second point, I used to work for Superior Court, I worked there for 5 years. I handled the less restrictive alternative cases that came down all the way from Snohomish, and they tried it over here in Thurston County. Now those folks, I knew the orders from back to back, because all the reporting, whenever there was a violation, came to my email. There was 3 violations that those folks had to do, and after those 3 violations, they went back to McNeil Island. Now my question is, once those folks violate the court order, what is going to happen to them?
My understanding from the protocols that have been developed is that if there is a breach of that LRA, that DOC will immediately respond and arrest them.
Monday through Friday.
So that's my understanding.
Do they go to jail or do they get to go back home?
I'm sorry?
Do you return them to their house or do they get to go to
No, my
jail?
assumption is they wouldn't return to our home.
They will?
They will not.
Oh, so they'll go to jail?
My assumption is they will.
Is that all you have is assumptions?
I'm sorry?
Is that all you have is assumptions?
That's the best I can give you tonight.
Well, you're moving a dangerous facility into our neighborhood and that's all you can give us.
I can give you as much information as I have available to me.
Why don't we leave them on the island?
Understand why it's not reasonable.
Well, I understand that you don't believe it's reasonable. I get
What I
that.
believe, it's not, that has nothing to do with it. It's not reasonable or responsible, period.
I feel like we are being responsible and
It doesn't
reasonable.
matter what you feel, ma'am.
Well,
Your feelings
all I
don't
have is
are not
my
facts.
sense of things
What,
as well.
what you feel about it doesn't really make a healthy difference to the victim,
Yeah.
does it?
Well, where are the victims? I'm not sure what we're talking about.
Well, if you have no victims, then you have nobody for your home. Correct?
Oh,
We have no victims.
Where you have no victims, then you have nobody to move into this home you're speaking of, so I guess we have no problem.
So I'm gonna tell
I'm
a
not sure I
story.
understand your point.
If there are no victims, ma'am, then you don't have offenders that need a place to stay.
Again, I wanna reiterate
A little slow, man.
that these individuals are on, excuse me,
I'm gonna tell a story. Can I have your microphone?